Good evening. My name is Ray Dwyer, and I am your host to Dr. Joe Dispenza's Meditation and Book Discussion Group. Tonight, we are discussing Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, Chapter 12.
Dismantle the memory of the old you.
Not an easy thing to do, at least not for me. We've discussed a few things that got us here. Step 1, the induction. Step 2, recognition. Step 3, admitting and declaring. Step 4, surrendering. We talked about how hard that word is. Tonight, we're discussing observing and reminding, and then we'll get to redirecting. First, as you read and write in step 7, you will receive knowledge about creating an instruction on how to proceed. Then you'll read the guided meditation rehearsal. What the big point in that is you'll receive knowledge. Knowledge of itself is a book on the shelf. Please don't let this just be knowledge. From knowledge, you get choice. From choice, you get experience. From experience, you have the power to change your life. The first you come with knowledge. A lot of our life, we are programmed way back in the back of our heads that we're not even aware of. Remember, Dr. Joe says 95% of our day is subconscious. Working without our conscious knowledge of why we are who and what we are. So we're gaining knowledge so that we can consciously, creatively, deliberately choose. Next, it's time to do what you have learned, choice. So we rehearse, get knowledge, we rehearse it, and we do. Every day this week, you will practice week 4 meditation, which includes step 1 through 7. As you listen, you will apply the focused attention. As those with us a little earlier in our introductory meditation, we went through this chapter step by step, including the parts that we're going to talk about, change. On page 272, it says, I want to point out that the preceding steps were all designed to help you break the habit of being yourself so that you could make room for consciously, energetically, for reinventing the new self. That's what we're after. That's why this title of the book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. We are getting down to the root of it now. When stuff gets in your face, do you have the knowledge to choose something different? That's what we're working on. Now that you are beginning to lose your mind, anybody else think that's a funny expression? Now that you're beginning to lose your mind, it's time to create a new one. Let's begin to plant a new one, like you've got a seed in your mind. Your daily meditation, contemplations, and rehearsals. The mind works by rehearsal. Don't just get a picture in your mind and say thank you, goodbye, get on with your day. You are rehearsing your old self all through the day. You are. Subconsciously, it just plays again and again in this crazy loop that is the human experience. To overcome this, you must passionately rehearse your new life. The more creative you are in reinventing a new identity, the more diverse the fruits you will experience in your future. When you create this new identity, be passionate about it. You've heard me say, if you don't care, the universe doesn't. Be passionate about it. Not just, oh, that's a good idea. Be passionate about it. You've got a lot of old energy that you have to overcome. So be passionate about creating your new future. Next, it's time to practice creating a new mind over and over again until it begins to become familiar. Rehearsal is the thing. Is there a musician here that learned an instrument without rehearsal? Is there a master dance artist here who learned her craft without massive rehearsal? Is there a scientist here who did not rehearse the math equations until he could speak the language of mathematics? Rehearsal is the human experience. It just is. So do that here as well. You want to change your mind, find that new self and rehearse it in your all the way down to your heart so your heart responds to the story. Now it's time to recondition your body to the new mind. When you're rehearsing this new life, does it stir your heart? Does your heart get, oh, can I do that? I used to say it, I saw what my heart potential was, and I said, you mean I can do that? Talking about ring my bell, I'd get up and says, I can do that. And and in me, I just felt you do the work, you'll get the promise. And it's like, I can do that. You mean this guy can do that, can be that? And my heart would just, oh, wow. Let your heart respond. Let it respond. It wants to that potential that you see as yourself. Without that heart leap, it's just a story in a book. Therefore, as you repeat the same frame of mind every day by mentally rehearsing a new ideal of self, over time it will become more routine, more familiar, more natural, more automatic, and more subconscious. And that's what we're after. You will begin to remember you as that somebody else, as that future self. That's who you will begin to remember yourself as. Now you've stepped into the subconscious. And now that subconscious program is running automatic for you. That system that used to beat you up is now running your new image of self, and your life will start turning. That's how it works. That's a human experience. Now it's time to recondition your body. As you repeat this, and your heart stirs and stirs, as it becomes familiar to you, don't bail on the familiarity. That's when it's getting good. That's when you've broken into the subconscious. That's when the heart is familiar and is allowing that in. Be familiar with it. And now the subconscious will start recording it because it's safe, because it's familiar. And now that change is getting deep. Your goal in this final step is to master the new mind. Remember, first, you're just knowledgeable, you learn it. Then you're the initiate, the doer, but that's work. It's like doing the exercises on the piano where you play it again and again until you've mastered the music and your body knows what it needs to do to make the music, and your mind can be at rest and just think music, and your hands will take off because it knows what the intent is. And that's how this works. You have an intent for the future self to be something, not necessarily do something, but because if you be it, you'll do it. It's hard to do something that you're not aligned with. So first you become it, and then the being follows. It's important that you memorize this new state of mind by thinking in new ways equally relevant is to then memorize a new feeling in the body so that nothing in your outer world can move you from it. Can you get so stirred up by this new self? I mean, that's why this book, that's why we've gone through this book, breaking the habit of being ourselves. And now we're knocking on the door of that self-awareness. And you're saying, I can be that. You've cleaned yourself, you've exercised the breathing, you've learned inductions, you've learned recognitions, you're letting go of the things that have haunted you for years. And now your mind is going, I can do that. I can pull that from the infinite potential. I can be that. The answer is yes. You do the work, you'll get the promise. When you rehearse, you bring the new you out of nothing repeatedly and consistently so that you know how to call it up at will. This isn't woo-woo. This is the human experience. By doing this repeatedly, you are calling up out of the nothingness, put a capital N on that, repeatedly and consistently. That's a pretty lofty goal. Before we get into the how-tos of that, anybody like to put in their 2 bits on that amazing just couple of pages? Okay, we'll continue. Creating, use imagination and invention to bring your new self into existence. Some people I've talked to have a kind of a negative, or should I say limited opinion of imagining their future. Well, I'm just imagining it, but just, or it's just this or it's that. It says, well, if you think about it, if everything is energy, remember Einstein's equation, E equals mc squared, E equals mc squared. If you do a little algebra, M equals E divided by c squared. And if you analyze that, what you discover is that E and M, energy and mass, is the same thing except for frequency. E equals mass, frequency accelerated. Mass equals energy, energy decelerated, frequency decelerated. They're the same. They are the same, except separated by frequency. So everything, this little paper clip here, is a symbol of our mind, in our mind. Everything is different degrees of imaging. Everything. Use your imagination and invention to bring your true self. So use this imaging in your mind to draw it to you. Dr. Joe does not say, imagine a picture and hold it out in front of you. That is not what Dr. Joe's teaching. He is just suggesting here that you allow the images into your spatial mind. Don't project out here and hold a picture in front of your mind like you hold a picture up and you look at it. Don't do that. That's not what I'm saying. Let's go into the chapter. I just wanted to prime this chapter, this subchapter. This entire contemplation process is the building method for making a new mind. You are creating the platform of the new self by forcing the brain to fire in novel ways. You are consciously, creatively, deliberately choosing something against that massive subconscious program. You're beginning to change your mind. Some of you are just such beautiful people that you just got a few daydreams that you want to get control over. I got a lot more stuff I had to deal with. Opportunity to write. Is anybody here doing that writing stuff? I wish I could have been a good leader in that and wrote and talked about my writing, but I'm just going to have to tell you, I don't like writing these exercises, but everybody who's done it says they're very helpful. So has anybody done them? Dunham? Is that somebody's name? I knew somebody's name was Dunham one time. Uh, would anybody like to talk about the writing and how it's helped them? No?
I can share.
Oh, please do.
Sorry, I'm going to find a quiet space. So for me, I did that on the airplane, a long international airplane, just to trying to write every single one step. Those are very big questions. So once I start identify the feeling and I'm start thinking about the event or things that um I guess the source of that feeling where I try to identify it and I start writing down the things about that, where that come from. And all of a sudden, I was able to identify a pattern of my life in a different scenario. Perhaps the one I identify is something related cause of a sham. And then so I start identify, oh, this is where I get from there, and this is where I am. And then when I have that, I realize, oh, I wasn't really so Ray, you know a little bit about my personal story. So I was dealing with alcoholic dad, and but then I realized the shame is coming from I'm actually judging my mother of choosing the person, and but the shame of going into the childhood, going back home for like the a little bit darkness, it just bring you back those vivid image, and I start thinking, oh, because I always beat my I judge my mom. It's just like I judge me, and I beat myself for it, and that's where that coming from. So somehow the writing was not really sort of organized, but it's kind of giving you a pattern. And all of a sudden, when you start writing down stuff, and then those are very hard questions. Some of them I can't answer right away, but it's kind of if you can't get there, that you just did it every day. You just kind of do it next time, and then review your note, and then see if that leads you to different place. And Dr. Joe said you want to identify just one, right? So for me, is that writing down and suddenly everything kind of click. And then I didn't do this at very first. So I started doing that. We started doing like 2 or 3. I started doing this 2 and 3 weeks. I actually started with April before we start getting here. So, and then it just clicked on me of how this all connected. I'm still having problem to create this rehearsing the last question, what kind of greatest expression of myself, and I try to find the people that I could identify with, but it's still like loosely. But I kind of have I feel like if I keep writing, I will find that pattern. I was able to recognize different things. And then one thing is funny is like when I write it down, I'm start thinking about change, right? It's kind of those sudden things. I'm not sure if those are related to the first emotion, identify emotion, but write it down anyway because those are the things I don't want it. I don't know how they relate it. Some of the behavior, and then things. So to me, it's just kind of trust it and then write it down is how I feel like, and then I'm not judging myself when I write it down, and I know it's kind of just starting, and I know it's not like really perfect,
Okay,
but
so
it's a point.
once you get these things on paper in front of you,
Right.
how did that help you release it? That's really what it's about.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it helped me release by recognize it, right? Awareness is the key. So once I aware of it, it's the key for me to start going down the path of releasing. Because if you cannot aware, you cannot own it. You don't own it. You don't know what to do with it. It will always be there. So that would
That's
be
what it's
the
about. Very
yeah
good.
yeah.
That's because you got to face it, just
Mm,
but not to beat yourself up. but you face it to become aware so that you can release it and surrender it and get free of it.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I
Okay.
want. That's what I was hoping to hear from you, Julie. That was exactly. Yeah, you carried a pain that you weren't even sure what this root of it is. And then once you become very aware of it, you can start working to release it. Very good. Thank you, Julie. That was real sensitive. Thank you for exposing yourself a little bit there, but we love you for it. Your personality consists of how you think, act, and feel. You act and feel because of what you've learned through life and what you have rehearsed again and again. Remember what attitude is? Attitude is knowledge that you rehearse and rehearse, and it affects you. And then you get an attitude, and you think, well, I've just got this attitude. Well, that's because you've learned something that you've rehearsed again and again, and it's gotten into you emotionally. You change what you learn and start making different choices, your attitude will change. It's that simple. Remember, when you come up with your own answers, then contemplate them, you are installing new hardware in your brain and signaling your genes to activate in new ways in your body. That was an important statement. Not the first part, that you contemplate them, we all know that, but this affects you all the way to the genetic level. Your gene expression changes. That's crazy. Can you imagine when I grew up, it was we're given a set fixed of two things. You got a fixed number of brain cells, and your genes are fixed and says who you are and your destinies in your genes. Both of those are absolutely wrong. We are growing and changing brain cells every time we learn something new and push something out of our minds. And our genes have different rules every time we change who we are. You change your energy and your genes will behave differently. That's wild. If your tendency to be sick, you change your genes and that sickness will end, in some cases rather abruptly. That is important. Did you see that? You changed your genetic expression by doing this work. That's amazing. How do I want to think? Ask yourself these questions. If you're new to this work, these are real questions. How would this new person think? Are you kidding? I was in such a dark place. The best I could do was imagine, okay, that idea, if I could do that, that would be good. But I couldn't even comprehend that the man I used to be could be the man you're listening to now. The the bridge I crossed to get here is unimaginable to that old man. What thoughts do I want to put in my energy? I knew what thoughts I didn't want. I guess that was the beginning. What is my new attitude? I knew what I didn't know how to live it back then, but I knew what I wanted. I wanted love. I wanted hope. I wanted I wanted light in this dark mind of mine and peace. How do I want to believe about me? What do I want to believe about me? I want to believe that it's attainable. I had been told for years that I was going to die of cancer. Again and again, I was told every time I'd go in for an annual checkup, one of the final things he says, well, Ray, this is terminal cancer. You're doing a good job fighting it. How'd you like, as a man, to have the doctor tell your wife that it's only a matter of time before you die of this sickness? I still have a little grr in me over that. It was only a matter of time before I learned how to do this book and change. And when I changed, the epigenetic change in me changed the life in me, and the cancer was finished. How do I want to be perceived? I had no idea back then. Now I just hope you just perceive me on face value. I'm just this funny guy who just lives this stuff. What states of mind do I want to fire and wire in my brain? I want to understand space, and I want to expand it and go into the kingdom. I want to walk with the messengers. I want to hear the chorus sing. I want to know the divine and the glory that's true. How's that for stretching for the stars? And then he goes into how would this person act? How would this person feel? These are the kind of things that are real. I would like you to read this chapter, this section, and really think about those questions. This is how you build that image of your future self. What do I want to think? You think about the prisoner of your subconscious that you are. And you say, what do I want to think? If I was free in my mind, what would I think? How would I think? What would I think about? How would it feel like? And after I was done thinking it, how would I act? These aren't arbitrary questions. Ask yourself, if I could have that future self, if I could be that future self, how would I act? How would I feel? Real questions. It's not about how you would live in a big house versus a little house, new car versus new, just none of that stuff. Boring. Try to talk to me about that, and I'll go boring. I want to know about your heart. I want to know how you want your heart to go. I want to know what excites you in your heart. As I know what excites you in your heart, my heart will get excited for you, with you, about you. So it's kind of selfish because I love talking to people with an excited heart because it gets my heart excited too. When you meditate to create the new you, your job is to reproduce the same level of mind every day, to think and feel differently than you usually do. That's a very easy sentence to read, and I will tell you, for the longest time, I did not achieve that sentence. Let me tell you the problem in this sentence. Your job is to reproduce the same level of mind every day. That calls for a level of discipline I did not have that first year. I was really in the dark of it. And to think and feel differently than you usually do. I remember doing that first year when I would hear Dr. Joe says, and don't get up until you've changed. And I would laugh because if I did that, I would have starved to death in my seat. Because I get up knowing nothing happened. It was much later in this work that I learned that I was changing. I was changing deeply, slowly, tenaciously, deeply. And my mind, my conscious programs hadn't caught up with the work that was working in me and my heart. Because I was setting in rock and I was wearing that rock out. And I just wore it down like a file on a knife, just wore it down and wore it down and wore it down. The differences are hard to see. You sharpen a knife, you look at it, you can't see the work you're doing, but slowly that blade gets sharp. For months, I would sit here and do the work and feel like nothing changed and just go, fine, I'll be back tomorrow and do it again. I did that. That was my attitude. You didn't change today, Ray? Fine, I'll be back and I'll do it again. I didn't understand. I was changing inside, changing in my heart, changing in my subconscious by rehearsing and rehearsing and rehearsing space within the space and the love of my future self. It was way downstream when the changes got big enough to contrast my old self. Transformation must occur in the here and now, and your energy should be different from when you started. If you get up as the same person, feeling just as you did when you started, nothing has really happened. You're still the same identity. That is what I felt. But if that's what you're feeling, let me assure you, you are changing the premise of your life. And that is that you can't change. Every time you sit down and exercise and push against the premise and programs of your life, you strengthen your resistance to it. Every time you do that, you become one step more aware of the programs. And eventually that awareness will get in your face. And eventually that face awareness you'll recognize. And eventually, in recognizing it, you can release it. Sometimes the darkness is so deep that it takes a long time to get to that process. But I'm telling you, Dr. Joe did not mix words. You are changing. You are healing. It just sometimes takes longer than we wish. Lower on the page, 276. Rehearsing, memorize, and memorizing the new you. Don't try to go through your list in the same exact way during each meditation process. There are many different means to arrive at your end. Don't let boredom defeat you and push you out the door of your mind and just go, do something different. Find a new meditation. Do something so that you sit down and you exercise that creative, deliberate choice to get free again. You're wearing out the resistance programs of your mind that says no to you. What the world? We're all adults and we've got programs in ourselves telling us no against our own choice. What's that? Really? Everybody knows, everybody's had it. You know, when you go to do something and you got this crazy no in your head. Where'd that come from? It come from old programs that you're pushing against. And it doesn't go away by one shot. Just think about the greatest expression of yourself and then remind yourself how you will act. Anybody else ambitious enough to think that you have a great expression waiting for you to discover? I've seen the other side. I can tell you, it's wilder than the craziest imagination I've ever had. You can't stretch it, stretch this physical matter to matter mind enough to outdo the potential that's waiting for you. It's wild. I'm telling you. So the greatest expression of yourself, then remind yourself how you will act. Think of steps. Give yourself steps. Give yourself vision. Give yourself a hard call that will just wake you up in the morning. Tell yourself you love you first thing. Most important thing is always tell yourself, remember, this isn't you. This is your expression. Tell this expression you love you. You love it. And start your day. 277. Becoming very familiar with the new you. Practice this until it's familiar. You're familiar with the old you, right? How are you going to overcome it if you don't get familiar with the new you? That old you is rehearsing in your mind all day long. That's how the mind works. And until you start forcing into that line, that loop, your new you, all your mind and subconscious is going to get is the old you. When you are unconsciously skilled at something, that means you just do it without having to place a great deal of conscious thought or attention associated with it. We have any athletes here? Anybody know about the word flow? Athletes do it. Musicians do it. Dancers do it. Professional craftsmen do it. Flow is a normal state of mind when they have studied a subject so well, they know it. Then they've practiced that subject so well, their body knows it. And now they get in front of their instrument, whether that's their body on a long run. A dancer listens to music and her body flows the music now. Or a professional gets before his clipboard and goes to work and he just tunes into the challenge and it flows out of him. This is natural and human. On this side of the gate, what we're talking about is natural human work. First, you gain the knowledge of what and why you're struggling against the old programs. And when you get committed, says, I can do this, and you start learning these things that we covered in this chapter, and you start practicing them, rehearsing them again and again until your subconscious knows it. Now, when triggers arise, you let go and let your new program rehearse and set you free. 278. Bear in mind that most of the mental rehearsal exercises that activate and grow new circuits in the brain involve learning knowledge, getting instruction, paying attention, repeating the skill over and over again. That's what we're doing in this early part of this work. Don't try to make it mystical. We're not there yet. We'll do mystical and becoming supernatural. Now we're doing matter to matter work. We're biohacking our own self, as Bob Z would say, through mindful meditation. We're breaking the habit of being ourselves. We're ending programs that you may have learned as a child that you had no choice in. We're ending those programs and letting you consciously, creatively, decisively choose your new self. As you know, learning is making new connections. Instructions is teaching the body how to. Because it involves your being present in the stimulus, both physical and mental, that last repetition fires and wires long-term relationships. When you do this, you are literally changing your mind. I used to think changing your mind was just a conceptual thing. Come to find out, it's more real. When you change your mind, your old programs, the neural plexus actually disconnect from each other, and the new concepts create new neural plexus that store the connectivity of that new thinking. You literally change your mind. How's that? Is that a hoot? That's almost as big a deal as that I can tell my genes to do something differently. Repetition is what I want to emphasize here. Repeat, 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 because repetition is what breaks through the door of the subconscious mind. And in that subconscious mind is where the long-term memory changes. Okay? Don't hesitate. Go at this. You're after something very difficult to do. You are breaking the habit of being yourself. It would be easier to retrain a dog than it is to retrain your subconscious mind. Because a dog is more allowed. we have programs that are designed to protect our self-conscious and won't let you, or should I say, will resist you changing them. You got to really choose. In your own study of this material, you make some important synaptic connections as a precursor for you to have new experiences. Both of these elements, studying information and having the experience, involve your brain. As you do that, like I said, those old synapses depart and the new connections are made. You literally change the wiring in your brain. Very cool stuff. And finally, is your repeated efforts to rehearse your new ideal that will produce the same level of mind and body over and over again. Let yourself get excited. Don't go gently into this. Let yourself ring. Call up that inner child that used to get excited over birthday parties, or that teenage love that used to get excited at their romance showing up to pick them up for a date. Let your heart sing over this romantic call in your life. This step is for you to practice reproducing the same state of being so it gets simpler. I've practiced this so many times. When I meet somebody with an open heart, I just take their hands and I just hold them for a moment, and my heart sings. And I get moved to tears in just moments of holding somebody's hands that have an open heart, because I work so hard that my heart just sings, just moves at the gift of being able to walk up to somebody and love them. Just that's it. Just there you go. It's open. I love. Oh, what a gift to be able to do that for this whole dog of a guy. Just oh my goodness, can you imagine this old man just being able to walk up to somebody and say, "Hi, Ray," and we shake hands, and my heart just moves with love in that simple gesture. The longer you can linger in the thoughts and emotions of your new ideal without letting your mind wander to extraneous stimulus, the more you will memorize this new state of being. That is not an easy thing to do, at least not when I began. But it takes practice to teach your mind to be quiet when you're meditating. Don't expect 100%, but over time, you can say, I'm busy, go away, and go back to it. Busy, go away, go back to it. Busy, go away, go back to it. Dr. Joe gives the example of teaching his horse to stay calm so that he is the rider and he's in charge. He uses that metaphor. Do it. This step is all about getting into becoming your new ideal in your waking day. That becoming is the most powerful word that we'll talk about this whole year. To become, to be present. From this chapter, we talk about induction and this first part of centering and becoming. In this next book, we talk about you are the placebo, the control. The control is the atmosphere, mental energy of the rest of the book. And in becoming supernatural, the second chapter is being present, the present moment. It's all about becoming. Once you've mastered becoming and being, heavens open up to you. They do. Your health changes, your mind changes, your spirit changes. This step is all about getting into becoming. That's how important this little chapter here is. Becoming a new personality produces a new reality. Your goal in this step is to become a new personality, a new state of being. Remember what a personality is. You gain knowledge, and you get a collection of knowledge, you get an attitude. You collect attitudes, and you get a state of being. You collect beingness, and you create your personal personality. You express your personality and you become the creator of your reality. Where did it begin? New knowledge that you've rehearsed into an attitude that you rehearsed into a state of being that you rehearsed into a reality. So change your knowledge, change what you know and practice, change your energy doing that, and you will change your reality. You think, look where I live. How could I possibly change my reality? Don't test this to prove me wrong. I dare you to test this to prove me right. You won't be disappointed. Your new personality should produce a new reality. In other words, when you are being someone else, you will naturally have a different life. Think about that. Thus, from a quantum perspective, this new personality is the perfect place to create from. If you create from the old mind, you'll get old effects. Create a new mind, and your whole premise changes. The new identity is no longer emotionally anchored to the known situations in your life that keeps recycling the same circumstances. Therefore, it's a perfect place from which to envision a new destiny. See, when you change your mind, the premise of your life has changed. So you go different places that you used to tell yourself, I can't go there, I can't do. You've got a different mind, and those can'ts don't apply. And so you start creating new energy. And I'm telling you, this is science. This isn't even woo-woo mysticism. This is the science of the human being. The 5% of your mind that is conscious was fighting against the 95% that is subconscious body. Thinking one way and feeling another cannot produce any tangible results. When you start doing this, the goal is to get yourself to feel what you think so that your body can get used to the feeling this new mind. It will resist. That's its nature. But you are the chooser. You are the intender. You do it anyway, and you do it again and again and again and again. And you wear that bugger out until you've sharpened that knife and you can cut through the resistance and be that new mind. And once you become being that new mind, interesting things start happening. Simply said, you can't create a new personality while you're still being the old personality. Even Einstein, 50 some odd years ago, says, you can't solve a problem with the same mind that created it. You've got to change the mind to find a new problem. This isn't woo-woo, folks. Don't let yourself be saying, I can't do it, I'm not mystical. No, it's not required. I'm telling you, I was anything but mystical. I mean, people had a lot of names for me, and none of them was mystical, I can tell you that. So you start with where you are, and you rehearse it, rehearse it, rehearse it. Let yourself feel what it would be like to be that new self. That sounds like a good place to ask again if there's anybody that would like to make a comment on that part. I talk like this because I am so passionate seeing this stuff from the other side of the curtain. Oh, I just like jumping up and down. Please, please, please try to understand what I'm saying. Hello, Kathleen. I see your hand up.
Yes. Yeah, as you're talking, I just like, because again, and believe me, I've been doing this work and I've come so far, but this stupid trigger that happened, and I keep going back, remembering that, the hurts in the past. But as you're talking, I'm realizing there is a process that I'm grasping what you're saying, that I can change this. Like, I heard a testimony of a woman who it ended up, the doctor had taken um, some of a major part of her surgically out, that was a mistake, and she realized for herself to heal, she had to forgive. And I'm like grasping that there is a whole new me that is gonna emerge where that's not gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard in the process, but on the other side of it, there's not going to be like, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't know if I'm expressing this well, but I'm really glad I came in tonight, because this is just so critical for me to keep going forward. This change that has to happen.
Thank you. Thank you, Kathleen. Yeah. Well, Julie said it right. She was writing and it got right in her face and she had to see it. And in seeing it, she admitting it. And in admitting it and grasping it, she was able to confront it in herself and start letting it go. And that letting go change your life, because it ends programs that are looping in your head and making you react in ways that you don't even know. You just react. You just react without your choice because you're running a program. Very good. This is a hard chapter because I'm telling you to do something. No, I'm asking you to do something that truly is not fun. It can be exciting once you get a little bit into it, but it requires discipline. It requires a heart call. I hope you take me up on this challenge of this chapter. You allow yourself to look to that future self. You allow yourself to rehearse it. And you allow yourself to feel what it would be like. Kathleen, you had your hand up again?
Yeah, I realized I should mention that testimony, and I'll put it in our WhatsApp. The woman ends up growing back the part, which she needed, that doctor had removed. That's important to mention, because when we forgive, when we go past all that old self, there's a whole new life for us. It's not like we're left in that state of trauma and hurt and abuse. There's a whole
Yeah,
new world.
that's wild. Yeah. I think the doctor actually took out a thyroid or something.
On
And
this
so,
person, I guess it's not like it's a spoiler to say it, but they had taken out, oh gosh, the part where feces would come out. They took
oh,
out,
colon.
so much of that. And she kept telling them, check it again before you do surgery. I think I healed myself. And they didn't do it. And then afterwards, when they saw, oh, she didn't have cancer anymore, and they had taken, but she was able through meditation to get what was left to extend and grow so that her life was quality again.
Yeah, that was awfully close. Yeah, I came real close to having that story myself. Farah, I saw your hand come up for a few minutes. Would you like to say something?
Oh, good eye. Okay, I was like, maybe no time, but good eye. Sorry. Okay, here's my question. No, one second. I'm kind of going back and forth. So there are definite Zen moments, like I'll think something and I'll be very rational and I'll be clear-headed and I understand the whole programming thing. And then like I'll be feeling fine and great, and then all of a sudden I'll just have this angry thought come out, just randomly, like, well, in this situation, but this is what annoyed me. And then it can go away too, like shortly. So it just sometimes they just pop up. And I guess what I'm trying to figure out is, are these popping up for a specific reason? Like, is it because I'm not feeling good about that situation and my unconscious is trying to like nudge me? Should I ignore it? Should I try to quiet? I'm just not sure what to do when those sudden.
Okay. I have an opinion like everybody else. I have one of those. And I am not certified in anything. So don't take me to the bank. I'm well, actually, I did get certified one thing. I'm certified PTSD crazy, But that's a funny story. No, for real, I am. I am medically disabled, PTSD, with the VA Medical Center. So yeah, so I can't say I'm not certified in something that I'm certified in. But back to you. I'm sorry, I made light of your serious question. Now back to the reality
No,
of
your humor is great. Keep it coming.
it. Okay, so back to your serious question. The mind is a funny thing. This cortex of ours is designed to remember everything that was held valuable in our life. They could probe your brain and tell you what you had for your birthday party when you were a kid, and you'd smell, relive the experience. That doesn't forget anything, but that's not the problem. The body also has memory. Remember, we talked about when you're doing your energy centers to release these memories and things like that. Your body has a tenacious memory, but the body memory has to do with emotions. And when you tie these two together, you have triggers that come out of nowhere. You're having a good day, and all of a sudden you react to it. I guess I'm talking about me a little bit here. And you go, why am I getting so cranked up? What? And I used to think I was just crazy. Well, come to find out I was, but that's not the point. But my body memory, the programs that I had put in my body for survival were so deep that triggers would happen, and I would go off on this survival mode and go, what happened? I don't even know why I'm reacting this way. So I told you that funny thing is to let you know it's not what's in your head. The challenge is even more difficult. It's body memory. But in one sense, that frees you of any, oh, I'm crazy kind of stuff, because you're not. You're just resisting programs that you put in your body. That's a little accusative. That was put in your body and by you. So I guess I could say you put it in your body. And now you're learning to replace these programs, these repetitions that run in your body that trigger when certain actions about your life. I used to be triggered by the color green. I did. Green would get me and I go, stop it. I had crazy triggers, and I had to really work to get free of them. And, but these are body memories, and most of them are rooted in survival, action or reaction. And you just have to devalue them. Okay, I remember that. That was a bad day. And constantly just forgive yourself that it's just an old survival memory that raises up in your head. And you go, oh, yeah, I remember that. Okay, I'm safe now. This is okay. And just devalue it, devalue it, devalue it. Why devalue it? Because your cortex is designed to remember whatever you put value on. That's its purpose. If you have a trauma, you just put a whole bunch of value on that moment, and that moment is burn those neurons into place, and it will remember it and rehearse it because you valued it. If you met your soulmate and your heart goes pitter patter, you have put value on that moment, and your mind will recall it and rehearse it. This is a value-based machine. What we're trying to do is devalue the destructive behavior and increase the value of the beneficial behavior. So as these things come up, you just go, okay, I remember that. That was a bad day. I am not saying put it in a box, because like Jack in the Box, that thing will come up. I'm just saying that when it comes up, forgive yourself. Oh yeah, that was a bad day. I forgive you. I forgive you. And you just let it go and let it go. And over time, every time you do that, its value up here diminishes. And pretty soon the body will be able to let go of the chemical bond to anything trigger. Somebody makes a certain type of noise and you react. Well, there's a program in you for some reason. Huey helicopters have a whopping sound, whop, 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 because the way the blades are made. Talking about an adrenaline rush. one would fly over and I'd grab the arms of my chair, just like, Ray, it's just a helicopter. Sit down. You don't have to run out the door. Just, come on. Yeah. Because I had a survival program of how to react to that sound. On and on and on. And you do the same thing. You release it, you release it, you release it. And as you devalue it, this guy slowly releases those neurons, and the reaction in you, the hold that you have on it diminishes. Remember, the event is written in the book of life. That did happen. That you can't change. But what you can change is the meaning that you have put on that event. Let's say you're in a car accident. Oh, my favorite car, and you got all kind of value over the wrecking of the car. You're going to remember that. You're going to react to it every time it crosses your mind. If you devalue, oh yeah, I had a bad day, my car wrecked. Okay, now what's for dinner? Eventually, it'd just be, oh yeah, I wrecked my car that day. I messed my life up. I did this. It's just, okay, what's for dessert? You know, just, it doesn't disturb you anymore because you change the meaning. Everything is just a symbol. This piece of paper is just a symbol in our mind that we've learned to define it because it's all energy. As you change the meanings to purpose, what is the purpose of this? I have meaning for it and I can get attached to it. I want to be released of the meaning. We say, but it's still there. Fine. What is its purpose? All of a sudden, purpose is a present moment stuff. When you talk about purpose, that doesn't anything to do with the past. Purpose is today. Tomorrow you can get up and give it a different purpose. And every day you can think of that memory and say, okay, the purpose of that memory was to do this. Okay. And you get up the next day with a little bit more wisdom and go, no, the purpose of it is to do this. And the purpose can change moment by moment, day by day. And that frees you from trying to add meaning to it. It has a purpose. Maybe that purpose was to change my life. Maybe that purpose was to teach me to pay more attention when I'm driving. What's the purpose? What's the cause and effect? Take meaning out of it.
Yeah, I really liked what you said about if you put it in a box, and then I just thought of the Jack in the Box. Random, you're right. That's exactly how it works. If you what you resist persists, and then it catches you at the worst time.
Yeah. So I used to, in my struggles, my pastor would get in my face and go, yeah, and ugly and vile and shaming. I learned that one day that if I take the accuser and redefine his purpose and say, okay, you're in my face, today must be the day for you to heal. Today must be the day for me to forgive you. And I would take, because if you think about it, if it's in my face, there's a current resonance that I'm having with the moment. That's the hard part, is tuning into your past. This guy's going, yeah, you were bad, you did this, you did this. I'm already resonating with it. Now's the time I can heal it. I'm tuned into it and I'm experiencing it. I can release it. I can heal it. I can forgive it. I can love myself through this moment. I can release the meaning of it and just say, yeah, that was a bad day, and not give it any more meaning than that was a bad day. And now I'm stronger. I stand upon that bad day like a polished stone, and I stand strong because I have overcome that bad day. I change the meaning and give it purpose, and its purpose is to be a rock in which I stand on. So when you get one of these in your face, when it tries accusing you, it changes. Oh, yeah, I'm tuned into you. I can forgive you now. Because a lot of times these things hide in your mind and you can't quite get it. So when they get in your face, go, oh, now's the time to heal you. I got you. I release you. I release all meaning, all pain, all love. And I love myself through this. And I will stand upon this clean rock. And I release you into the river of life. Now you're free of it. It may come up again, but every time it does, just smile at you. I remember you. I forgive you. I release you. Because you're tuned into it. It's in your face. You're resonant. The hard part is getting resonant with it. because they
Mhm.
hide. So when it gets there, go, oh, I got you. And now you can deal with it. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, no, this was perfect. That's the best time to quote unquote confront it or deal with it is when it's right in front of you.
Yeah.
Because then it becomes weaker over time.
Each time you do it sincerely, diminish its value, forgive yourself in it,
Yeah.
and give it new purpose. It is just my old self, and I will stand upon my old self as a stronger person.
Yeah, I think that the things I kind of heard it before, like, release and forgive, but I like how you added, and then remember to love yourself within it. Like love yourself. And I think that's the part
Always,
that I don't hear enough of when it comes to
always.
that. Yeah.
That's the difference of Dr. Joe's work. I've done before I got to Dr. Joe, I was a looker. Well, that didn't come out right, but I I was looking at different modalities. I did civil mind control. I did some esoteric schools. I did the Kabbalah, which is my reminder of my little tree of life behind me. I did things like that, and they were all great things to learn. I learned some cool stuff, but none of them touched my heart.
Mm.
When I started doing Dr. Joe's work, when I started doing this book and started doing this part, and I started saying change in me, my heart was aching because I was pushing on something that was hidden and dark and never got exposed before in my life. And now I'm telling it to open up so I can release it. Out of all the things I studied, nobody does it like Dr. Joe of healing the heart. And in doing that, you release energy, and in releasing energies, you epigenetically change who you are. Actually change who you are. Amazing stuff.
You know what it sounds to me like? I think maybe the reason it resonates and I'm liking it too is that there seems to be more of a completion to it, right? So it's like you do, like release, like you said, the other modalities, you found wisdom and stuff, but this kind of closes the loop on it. Is that how it feels to you?
Oh
Like it
yeah.
it encases it in like a loving bubble in a way, and then that's like the most healing
Yeah.
of all.
I liked what I learned in those other modalities. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the hypnosis. I enjoyed the mysticism. I enjoyed the I don't want to name them, but the miscellaneous things that I did. But they didn't heal. But they gave me interesting knowledge that I still use, and that's correct knowledge, but they didn't break my heart open. They didn't change me. At the end of the night, I'd go to bed and I'm still the same terror that I always have been.
Mm.
I didn't get free of that until I started doing this heart work with Dr. Joe. And then changing your heart work, your body releases those things I was talking about, these body memories. I couldn't get free. I didn't know how to get free of it. How do I make it stop? I can remember sitting in this chair saying, make it stop. The terror, the mind, the dark mind that I had since I was a child. It's gone doing this work.
Thank you.
Bottom of page 281, creating a new destiny. From an elevated state of mind and body, in love, joy, and self-empowerment and gratitude, in a greater, more coherent energy, here is where you see things, images in your mind of what you want to create in your new life as this new personality. Once you get your heart and mind coherent, you're dealing with a different mind, a different coherence that you have in your whole life. And in that difference, new choices are made available to you. The pictures you see in your mind are the vibrational blueprints of your new identity, new destiny. You, as a quantum observer, are commanding matter to conform. There's some really interesting points in those pictures. The pictures you see in your mind are the vibrational blueprints. They are not imaginary. They are vibrations out of the infinite. You, as a quantum observer, your observing creates. Remember in quantum when they look at the particle, the light going through one slot and two slots, or it's a particle or it's a wave. The observer affects creation. You, as the observer, are affecting energy. You, as a quantum observer, are commanding matter to conform to your intention. That is not a figure of speech. That is how conscious intention works, through your observing. And that observing is not this way. It's back here in the creative center. So, but what's that mean? Have you ever done art and you wanted to create a new art? Did you see it this way? Or did you create it back here and then manifest it through your skill? With clarity, you will hold the image of each manifestation in your mind for a few seconds. That's how it's done. With clarity, you will hold the image of each manifestation in your mind for a few seconds. Not here. Here. Finally, give up trying to figure out how or when or where or with whom. It is not your place to tell the universe how. Your part is to intend, is to tune. Do you care how the radio does what a radio does? Have you ever wanted to study radio electronics to learn what a super heterodyne does? How a RC circuit loops and delays time and tunes things? Do you really care? Of course not. I mean, you got to be kind of a geekish person to care about things like that. All you care about is if I turn this dial and if I tune to the right number, the right frequency, I'll receive the signal. This is a lot like that. Don't tell the universe how. When you drive your car and you want to set the and you want to set the GPS, you tell the GPS, this is where I'm at. And doing this work, always be honest, the spirit knows who and what you are. This is where I'm at. And you tell it where I want to go. And it says, this is your destination. You say yes. And then you say, set as destination. You don't tell it how, which street, which, you just, there it is. And it would go, here's your map, get to work. It doesn't make you go there. It gives you a pathway for which to follow, and you start your part, which is doing the work. And as I said, you do the work and you'll get the promise. Guided meditation rehearsal meditation. It's time to reinvent the new you by moving into a new state of being that reflects your new expression of self. After you do so, by priming the new mind and body, then you rehearse that state of being again. You get the idea that he wants you to do it again and again and again. Every day you sit and meditate, rehearse that new mind. You're here to break the habit of being yourself. You're not going to do it by wishing it, dreaming of it. You're going to do it this way. Then, once you are a new being in your meditation, a new being is a new personality, and a new personality creates a new personal reality. There's the equation. This isn't woo-woo. This is human. You can do that. When I say it like that, it's because I'm trying to encourage you. You can do this. Is it work? Yeah. Is it heartache? Often. Remember, no environment, no body, no time. Now close your eyes, eliminate the environment, and let yourself go by creating how you want to live in your life. Your job is to move into a new state of being. That's change. Practice being your new self. Out in the work field, you can't practice this. You're too tied up in your stress. I know jobs can be stressful, crazy stressful. I know you got demands on you. I'm not being unrealistic. I mean, when you sit in your chair, like I'm doing here, and you put your hands on your lap, and you close your eyes and you listen to Dr. Joe, your job in that moment is to move into a new state of being and practice that. It's time to change your mind and think in new ways. Practice it, rehearse it again and again. And I'll ask you again, how much do you want it? If you don't care enough to practice it, you most likely won't care enough to get good at it. That's kind of a harsh thing to say, but you've been rehearsing your old programs for years. You're not going to set them away by wishing. Pick a potential in the quantum field and live it completely. Step 1, move into a new state of being. Step 2, live it completely. Do whatever it takes to practice your rehearsal and rehearse this throughout your day. Not get zoned out when you drive. Come on, let's be real. I'm trying to be real here. But as you have idle moments, remember that state and see if you can do that in a moment. See if you can walk from one office to the next, breathing a little bit of grace into you. Don't worry about somebody else. Do it for you. Is it easy? Not when you begin. As it becomes familiar to you, it will become easy. Remind yourself who you will be when you open your eyes. Plan your actions and regard how you will be, how you will speak. Think about what it will feel like. These are all things to put into your recipe of your meditation of live it completely. Become so attentive to your intention that your thoughts of a new ideal become the experience internally. And as you feel the emotions from that experience, you go from thinking to being. Let yourself think about how it would feel if you could be that person in your future life. Imagine how it would feel to be that, even if you get just an inkling of that feeling, because that's all I got for a long time. It really was. But I was so far into the darkness to have any crack in my darkness, any hope of light in my darkness was like, oh my goodness, look at that. I mean, maybe I can do this. Be so attentive to your attention that your thoughts of the newest ideal become an experience. Just thinking about it now moves me to tears sometimes. You've seen me do it. When I just start talking, I just get moved to tears because I've come so far from that broken man I used to be. Creating your new destiny. I'm on page 284. Now it's time to command matter from this elevated state of mind and body. What do you want in your future life? There's an interesting word in that. What do you want in your future life? We've been talking mostly about becoming, beingness, the being you're going to be. Now that you've got that into you and you can call that up and experience it emotionally, chemically, epigenetically, now they've added a little spice to it. Now that you've got that, as you unfold the new self, remember to move into that state of mind and body that feels invincible, powerful, and absolute. Become the condition. Become the creator. Don't try to do this with your old mind. It's a waste of time. Be that new self. As you unfold the new self, Beyond, as you become that new self, let the pictures come, see them with clarity and inspiration. As you become your new self, one of the first spiritual gifts you will get from most people, should I say, is images, pictures. And they're not pictures here, they're pictures from the creative self that you find in your awareness, in that space above you. It will start trying to communicate, and the first way it communicates is through images. Beyond, bond with your future as if it's yours. When this starts connecting and your heart starts resonating with it, bond with it. Accept the promise. Become empowered by your new sense of self. Let that excite you. That those new visions, those new communications, that new thing that's stirring in your heart that you did not image into it. It came to you. Let that excite your heart. Let it empower you. Let it give you a little ambition that says, I can do that. I am becoming that. With clarity, hold the image of each manifestation in your mind for a few seconds and then let it go into the quantum to be executed by the greater mind. Don't cling to it like a treasure chest. Hold it, treasure it. I just contradict myself. Hold it as if a treasure into your heart and feel your heart excited to it. Then offer it back to the quantum kingdom and let that plant your seed and grow into your future. Open your heart and experience the joy of your new life before it actually manifests. Now that you've planted that seed in the quantum void, like a farmer watching his seed grow, he first has to plant it in a hidden soil and then wait. As above, so below. It works in real life here, and it works in that quantum. You plant the seed in the mystic future, in that void of creation. After you love it into a fertile capability, and then you wait for it to grow. You are commanding matter to conform to your intention when you do this. Your heart desire stirs that seed of image into life, and that vibration becomes real. Don't expect anything if you're not stirred by it. If you just go through emotion like some kind of religious ritual and then give it in the basket, bah. This is birth of a new creation. You are creating something. It should excite the dickens out of you to think that you can do this. It is so far beyond our stale Western mindset to think that we actually can influence frequency into creation of our life. Wow. Week 4 guided meditation. A helpful hint. During the guided meditation, you may find yourself feeling so good that you're naturally make statements like these because you feel like this every way. You say to yourself, I am wealthy, I am healthy, I am genius. It's important for you not to analyze what you are dreaming. Don't analyze it. You're an observer, not an engineer. It's important for you not to analyze what you're dreaming. If you do so, you will leave the fertile ground of the alpha wave. Just observe the experience and love yourself through it. The guide to continuing your meditation. You've just devoted the past several weeks to learning meditation practice that can become a lifelong means to help you evolve and create the life you choose. When you get done with this book, Please don't put it on a shelf and say, that was a good read. Good talk, right? Oh my goodness. This is the process of your life. This is the human experience. You are in a society that is trying to program you from the moment you become conscious in the morning to the time you go to bed. If you are not conscious of this, that will win. Make this meditative process your own. If you continue to do all the steps every day, what used to feel like 7 steps will begin to feel simpler and the more of a flow from the step to step. Remember that word flow we talked about? When you practice this again and again, it will become a natural expression in your subconscious, and you will breathe in this process, and you will overcome programs that you did not even know were driving your choices. Okay. Kathleen, good evening.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hi. Just hearing what you said about putting the book on the shelf. I think it's so funny how when I went through this with you a year ago, this book seemed elementary. And I mean, I enjoyed it. I got a lot out of it. And here I am a year later, having come so far, and this is like a lifeline right now. It's like I am so gonna just go through all these particular parts again and just make it a practice while I make this other while I go further with this. It's just funny. It's so deep, so much deeper than I realized.
I wonder how many people here out of this 30 some odd people that was here did that or do that. Because you're not the only one that I've heard. You said, yeah, I read this book a year ago, but you've turned it on to me again. Well, I'm glad I've excited and got people turned on, because this book, if you learn what it's trying to say, will change your life. But as being honest, it's not an easy walk. You're confronting things, you're confronting programs that have their own survival intent. We have told them they are important, and they will hide because they think they're important, like little characters in a script. And you have to devalue them and give that energy a different job. And that new job is to heal you. Okay, come on home, guys. It's time to heal. Yeah. Yeah, Kathleen, you're not the only one I've talked to that said that.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. Page 286. Keep peeling away those layers. Making periodic adjustments to your meditations is natural and to be expected, because you aren't the same person you were when you began. If you keep up the daily sessions, your state of being will continue to evolve. And thus, you will continue to recognize aspects of your old self that you want to change. Let's be real about this. This isn't a pill. You evolve and grow through it. And what your intention is today will evolve with you. Don't write this in stone. This is life. Only you can determine when and how quickly you are ready to move ahead. There you go, Kathleen.
Yeah.
So approximately every month, do some reflection. Look to your life for feedback on what you're creating and how you're doing. It's a growth process. Be easy on yourself. Be sincere on yourself. Rescue yourself from your past programs. And love yourself, love yourself, love yourself. Last page of this chapter, 288. We might have some real book nerds here, book heads, tech heads. I was a bit of one. So I got this far in the book, and it says, read my first book and the companion to this one, Evolve Your Brain, Science of Changing Your Mind. to deepen the knowledge that you will now know is the doorway to experience. I went, knowledge, okay, I'm trying to fight my way through my past. I need tools. And so I got the book, completely replaced that, misplaced that. I'm looking for it for the other day. I was going to show it to you. I've got the book, Evolve Your Brain. That is the science of changing your mind. I tell you, there is no meditations in it. There's no mysticism. If you want to know if Dr. Joe is messing around or not, and you're kind of a tech head kind of person, get the book, Evolve Your Brain by Dr. Joe Dispenza. To me, it was one of the most challenging books I have read in a very long time. You think these are a challenge? This is schoolwork compared to that book. I'm telling you, Evolve Your Brain will convince you, it did me, that everything Dr. Joe does is serious business. Okay, that ends the chapter. I'm sure open to discussion right now. There's my friend Olga. Is she going to talk to me?
Mhm. Today's session helped your, especially your comments, helped to understand this process much deeper and see blind spots. I mean, things which I should do, which I haven't done yet.
Remember
Yes.
the last part of that meditation we did? He said he gave us 3 steps
Yeah.
to say change.
Yes.
When you wake up in the morning and you start rehearsing your day, before you even do anything, you're already rehearsing your day. Say change. Right then, right there, before you get embedded in your program, say change and try to put on this new person of peace and rest. And right then, just say change and put it on before you break the habit of stressing the first thing you do when you wake up. Give yourself a little bit of time in the morning. I understand work is hard and that you put on stress at work. That's how you survive. But does it have to happen as soon as you wake up? No. This you can start your stress when you get on the highway. But at home, learn to have your house a peace without stress. Try to create an air in your house stress-free. Practice this. This isn't going to happen the first time. Practice it. And as you practice it, your confidence on becoming a peaceful person grows because it will happen. One of the things I did when I first began is I was trying to do this, and I was trying to change my attitude that I lived in 24/7. So I would sit in the chair and I'd put it on. And I noticed that by the time I walk out of this little room, you see, I was already putting on stress, just because that was my program. And so I got the idea that I would bless my house and every doorway I went through. And I didn't tell anybody what I was doing, but I'd go through a doorway and I'd just touch it like this. And I'd say a blessing to the room I'm entering. I enter this room in peace and love. And I just went through, and I'd go by my couch and I'd gently touch the edge of my couch. And I'd say, and I give thanks for this beautiful couch I get to use. And I just did that. And the stress in me diminished. The couch is still the couch, but now it's a couch that I love. And my house is still my house. But I've had people tell me that they walk in my house and they just feel like sitting on the couch and going, oh, because that stress isn't in my house. I have consciously, deliberately practiced de-stressing the energy in my house. My house is not Mr. Beautiful. My house needs dusting. The floor probably needs sweeping somewhere. Just something needs to be fixed. I'm pretty casual about how I live. But the stress is out of my house. It is. And And so I practice carrying this with me. And I'm just, because I practice, it's something I do naturally now. I practice looking for people with an open heart. God, you see a lot of them at the Dr. Joe's conferences, man. Just that was like Christmas lights to me, because like there's 2,000 people there and there's like 1,000 people who just looking for somebody to love. And I went around taking hands, and I was crying all over the place. There, a 75-year-old man crying with a young lady going, oh, it was crazy. But I just absolutely loved it. And just why? Because I practice opening my heart. And I practice here until I could carry it with me through the day. Now, when I go places through the day, I don't go around being mushhead. The world doesn't want that from me. So I am just an old man. I I like to play a game of bridge. They don't know anything about this about me. They just know that I had terminal diseases and I'm healthy. Hey, how'd you do that? Oh, I just know how to take care of myself. I don't explain it to them. They can't receive what I do. I don't explain it to the doctor. Says, oh, look at this, your blood panel's good. How'd you do that? I've got leukemia and I'm supposed to have elevated white cells, elevated temperature, elevated this and that, and my blood panel looks like somebody 20 years younger than me. And I don't have a temperature. If anything, my body temperature is low. I am so cool. I actually have a cool body. The body temperature of a normal person is about 98.6, right? My normal body temperature is 97.7, a full degree below average. It is. I've seen it as low as 97.3 when I really chill out. Why? Because I have so worked on this that when I'm happy and whole and enlivened, my body cools. It just does. This is important stuff in changing lives. Practice it. When it comes up, say change. Diminish the old and go, I'm doing this now. And replace the old with what you want to do. Say change. I told you this, I'd be driving down the road and something would happen. I go, change. My wife would go, what did you say? Oh, just something I learned with Dr. Joe. I say change when I'm trying to shake an old habit. She goes, oh, okay. I did this. I mean, I did this work and I did it fervently. Don't do it passionate. I mean, don't do it without passion. If your heart's not doing it, involved in it, then you're just reading a book. You're just watching a television show. It's your heart's got to cry every time you do it. Just, oh, I want this so bad. And let your heart, you've got to break the habit of accepting the program. You are a prisoner of a program you did not choose. You didn't choose to be you. It was given to you by your community. You have the power consciously, creatively, deliberately to redefine you. You do. Is it easy? No. But you can. It's up to you to say who you are. Let me tell you what you are. You are the I am, present moment, energy being, electric, luminous, eternal, divine, in your case, daughter of the kingdoms, heir to the throne, inherited to the infinite potential. Ah, that is what you really, really are. And if you could see yourself like I saw what we look like, it would just, tears would flow with like, wow, is that me? Yeah, you really are what I just described. That is not a euphemism. That is not a projection. That is a declaration. Declare it. Oh, I got all kind of electric goosebumps when just because every time I say that, I get energy waves. My body loves it when I say that.
You are
So,
true inspiration. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I had a question. Can I ask it?
okay. No one else is talking to me, Olga, so I'm glad you're speaking.
Yeah, this
I guess maybe I
quite
didn't do
late
so
time,
good.
so
Yeah. Maybe
no,
I
quite late.
either just overwhelmed them and they're all, I don't want to talk about that, you know.
You know, just don't know about others, but now spring um, coming, and maybe it's time to relax and
Yes.
not to think about not difficult
Yeah,
thing.
put this away and
Okay.
get ready for the work of tomorrow morning when you sit down to meditation.
Hmm. So I have a question regarding previous chapter, 11th chapter. Um, in that chapter, Joe mentioned the very important thing for me that we shouldn't hide, shouldn't avoid connection with our negative emotions, but should sit and feel it, face it, kind of discover body sensations and just be with them. Don't judge. It's a way to live through our emotions. And it's very connected with Eastern philosophy, Eastern spiritual practices like Vipassana meditation, if you heard about it. But in fact, for me, it's often difficult to stay with these sensations. Sorry, while I feel negative emotions without judging it, naming it, just observe and
See, there
nothing.
you're right to see a contradiction in that. Because in one sense, he's telling you, don't let your emotions lead you. And then another sense, he says, let your heart cry out, which is emotion, which is the definition of emotions. Because you're supposed to get emotional in what you do, but then he says, don't let your emotions lead you. What is he talking about? The emotion process, the emotions is the end product of your decision, you act, the chemical release, and your mind gets that chemicals, and you have an emotion which judges what you just chose. Okay. If you choose the emotion, you're choosing everything that went with it. And that emotion is just an image that associated with the chemicals. It don't have just, it can really be really weird. But the idea is to choose the knowledge first and let your body grade your choice. If your knowledge is right, your heart will cry out with love. If your knowledge is wrong, you'll find stress. So in a sense, when we're choosing emotional, you know, I get emotional when I'm around, I get so angry, I'm choosing I'm choosing a destructive chemical release in my brain.
Mhm.
And that's what they're trying to warn about. Choose the knowledge and choice and let the body have its reaction. I know what I'm doing now because my heart just opens and cries out. I just love to be around people who have learned to open their hearts. I feel like a kid. You know, here I am, the oldest guy on the table, and all these beautiful people around me. And here's this old man going just out of my mind with happiness because I am just so thrilled that I get to love just these people. I have no idea who they are, but their hearts are open, and I am just like rejoicing. And look what I get to do as an old man. What a hoot. Just I can't being this when I was younger never crossed my mind that I could be this kind of loving person. It's like, are you kidding me? This is this is so far from my imagination when I was a young man. I don't have words for it. That's why I think it's so funny. Here I am, a white-haired, bald guy, loving on these young ladies, and they are just like in tears loving me back. And I'm just thinking, this is the wildest thing. Who would ever thought that I could take the hands of a young lady and with all her heart, she opens her heart to me and just lets me love her? Who would have thought that was even a conversation that could be had? And just tears flow and lives change because I did this work, because I let my heart change. Let your heart change. You can do it. There'll be tears. There'll be heartache. That's part of the healing process. I'm an old man. I was on the floor just crying my eyes out a few times, trying to let my heart heal, trying to let my heart let go. But it's worth it. It's crazy what I do now. It's just absolutely a hoot to me, you know. So when you go through your life, if something surges a reaction in you, it could be someone who just gets in your face. Hey, girl, go do that. And you want to punch his lights out, go get a vase and smack him over the back of the head. I'll fix you, change, just change. That is not who I am being. I am becoming this new person. I'm becoming a person of peace and love and patience. At no point am I telling you to be meek and be somebody's mat to step on. That is not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, let yourself always heal, always heal, always heal. Stop that overreaction by saying change and giving it something new, a new direction. That's what this chapter is about. Change.
Yeah. Yes. This is yes. But
When you
this.
play back this
Mm,
meditation, if you get it, listen to the last part where he says, let's rehearse the three things. In the morning, get up and say change. In the midday, when you're going through your office and you're getting stressed out, change. When you're driving home in traffic and you're just carrying today's stress, change. When you walk in the door, don't bring your stress with you. Bless the doorway. You walk into your house, bless the doorway, and say, I bring love and peace upon my home. And bring that with you. Bless the home you walk into. And over time, you will feel the difference because you are building in you a new program. And with repetition and a lot of heart, it will take hold on you. That's the human experience. It's not woo. That's the human. It's so dependable. I'm saying it's the human experience.
so do I understand correctly that you uh, kind of advise use change technique which we discussed today? But yeah, so it was a bit strange for me when Dr. Joe in last previous chapter said that face look at these emotions like deeply uh, sense it and so on. So it I believe that this is also can help to like to how it in English, to be free from these emotions, but the tricky difficult part is not to not to add thoughts, to negative thoughts and so on, but just concentrate on body sensations, mm, just observe it and so on. So it
And always have something to replace it. When you say change, your body's going to say to what? And if you don't have something in replace, you'll have an empty hand. The body doesn't like empty hands. So it says, okay, I'm familiar. And it go back to what's familiar. So have an idea in your mind what your future self is. It doesn't have to be elaborate. It's just that I'm working toward that. And so let me tell you one of the things I did. This is stuff I did. I would go to the VA medical center where the soldiers get care. And these guys were as whacked out as I was. And I'd walk by them and I would feel the aggressiveness. They didn't even look at me. They're just walking their direction. And I would flare up because I could feel their energy. And it's like, what is it? I didn't know how to let go of it. And I'd be ruined for hours. Now I walk through it and I feel it. And I say, change. And sometimes I'll turn around and walk up to that VA, that veteran, and reach out my hand and says, hey, my name's Ray. He says, yeah, what do you want? I don't know. I was just feeling stressed out today. Feel like sitting down and have a cup of coffee? I'll buy. You buying the coffee? Yeah. He says, well, I got a few minutes. Let's go talk.
Oh,
And I not only cleared my energy, I clear his energy because he gets to have a sane conversation for somebody who understands his life. I do that a few times. You can't do that to your boss. I know that. But the whole idea is to recognize he makes some wisecrack at you. You didn't do it. What's the matter with you? And you go, so what do you mean, what's the matter? You give me 10 times the work I could possibly do in one day, and you want to know why it's not done. Hire somebody else. Hire 2 more people to get it done. I know how the real world is. But you just put it away and get to work. You can work more effectively with a clear head than you can going, ah. And in the long run, it paid dividends. I lost jobs because I just went off. And I couldn't hold a job. I was crazy. So this is what we're learning to do, to rehearse life peacefully, to rehearse life, not unrealistically. I know what life is like out there. I know there are some jobs that are crazy stressful. Some jobs are just really hard to do. There are some people who just have a nice creative work and then their work is their play and their play is their work. I know that, but most of us don't live there, right? But when the boss really puts demands on you, take a breath and say change and say, I'll get to work. Yes, sir. You'll find that you'll keep your job longer than I kept mine. Okay. Karina.
thank you so much.
Thank you. Karina, I see your hands up. Thank you for being patient.
Hi, everyone. Great discussion today. Thank you, Ray. Just wanted to say really lots of appreciation to all the people who contributed, and for sure you, Ray. And just wanted to share that these days I kind of use your technique.
I like it.
Yeah.
Good. Keep going.
So, yeah. So what I started to do when something that I think is going to be unpleasant is due to be done, I just I don't say change, but I kind of change my thoughts about it, and I will tell myself that this is going to be fast, this is going to go smoothly, this is going to be like I kind of change my mood about it. And what I wanted to share, the weirdest thing,
Oh, I love weird stuff. Go ahead.
yeah. So I did that when I crossed from Canada to US, and the border is always kind of I don't know what's going to happen, what kind of mood they're going to be there. So I was just sending love to the person in this booth on the border. And the weirdest thing, like the first time in my life, he started talking to me. He started, what are you doing? Where are you going? Oh, this is not nice. This is nice. Oh, very nice. He started a conversation, and I said, oh, love is there.
Right.
Yeah, so each time
He felt your energy was safe, and so he approached you.
I guess. So it's not about them, maybe. It's maybe about ourselves. So as you were, yeah. So as you were saying, when you come home, kind of bless your house. I would say wherever you go, just bless this place. Just bless this place, and it's not for the place, it's for yourself because you're coming different, right?
Oh, you said that so right.
So thank you for all these techniques. And today I went to Walmart, and what am I thinking about? Oh, I'm going to Walmart. Ray. I'm going to love the people in Walmart.
Yeah. Did you resonate with one?
Um, I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know. I just went
Okay.
in and out because it was not
Right.
for me. Like, but it was a funny thought came to me because you're saying how you're going to Walmart, how you used to go to Walmart, all
I
these things.
I try to put out love just to see if I can have that garment experience.
Yeah, yeah. No, it really works. It really works, and it's fun. It's really fun. So so each time thoughts are going um, into kind of direction that it's going to be unbearable. I'm afraid. Whatever. Just think differently and see what happens.
That's cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
What a great way to end tonight's discussion. That was great. It's all about us changing. And when we change, the reality around us changes. Karina was she had changed. And so the security guard who had just felt at peace talked to her and that means her reality around her is changing. Isn't that cool? There's your evidence. That is so cool. I love it. Thank
Yeah.
you, Karina. I
Exactly.
love it. Okay. Good night, everyone. That was a good thing. We're going to wrap up tonight. Next week will be the meditation will be water rising. And if you haven't heard it, it's good. We'll talk to you then. Meet me on my WhatsApp page. I hope you can find it. Talk to you then. Bye-bye.